Leaving the Dragon was a challenge. There is no cell phone service in the area. So I had a stressful time navigating by map for the first time in my life to get on the right track. Luckily, I found an awesome coffee shop called Cardinal Coffee just south of Smoky Mountain National Park that had the best latte I've had in a while. Truthfully, I had no idea what the Smoky Mountains were named after, but one quickly figures it out upon arriving in them.
I've been on the road for about 8 hours now on day 2, and I'm somewhere in Pennsylvania. It's actually the first time I've gone this way. This is, I guess, it's just where Waze took me. I guess it's because I'm coming from further west. Usually I come up 95, but it looks like I'm going like up through Pennsylvania and then over to New York City. So skipping the New Jersey Turnpike, which is fine by me. But so far the Mark IV has been absolutely perfect on this trip. I love having diesels on road trips, just for the fuel economy, and then just all your torque you have while you're on the highway. If you're going to pass someone, if you're in like a low power gasoline car, sometimes you have to downshift or whatever. But on diesel, you just put your foot down, the turbo spools up, and you just pass them, which I like. It's been pretty comfortable too. These Recaros are actually pretty awesome. Normally when I go on a long road trip, yesterday I did 16 hours in the car and my back wasn't even sore. So that's pretty impressive. And obviously these did an amazing job holding me in on the Dragon. I will say the Dragon was pretty sweet. I don't know, I can't remember how much I talked on video or not, but it was definitely lived up to the hype for sure. Definitely glad I did it. I would say that this car I feel like was a little outgunned on the Dragon. I kind of felt bad for it, like I was beating it up just with all the really tight turns on there. Yesterday when I did the Holler, however you pronounce it, Skyway, there's a lot more like longer sweepers that I think were better suited for this car, but on the Dragon they're really tight hairpins. And it just felt like the open diff on this thing was just fucking really confused and didn't know what the hell it was doing. And then some bumps in the road, and then like the diff doing the weird thing when it was kind of on an off-camber corner and there was bumps in the road. I don't know, it just felt weird. But I still had fun. I'm really glad I did it, and I was definitely the only wagon on there today, and probably the only diesel other than trucks. I think there was a Miata Me, because there's about 8 million Miatas, and then we got passed by a GT2 RS a few times, but it was definitely worth it. Definitely probably going to come back with a sports car someday. Maybe my 911 if I ever get a chance, I think would have been awesome on there, and the area is so pretty. Actually that whole like western North Carolina really surprised me. I guess Tennessee too, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina was beautiful, and I definitely want to go back there and spend some more time in Smoky Mountain National Park and maybe do some of the Blue Ridge Parkway. But yeah, I got about 6 hours left before I get to Boston, where I'm staying the night with some family. I'm actually staying there for 2 days, and then I'm going to go up the rest of the way to Maine. But I'm actually really surprised. I was kind of a little bit apprehensive taking nearly 20-year-old car with 215 years, makes no difference, 1,000 miles on it. But I guess that just goes to show if you keep up on your maintenance and everything, a reliable car for a road trip.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Knock on wood. I freaking hate Waze. I don't care about vehicles on the side of the road. But yeah, I hope you guys have liked this so far, and I guess be more clips along the way, and eventually make my way up to Maine.
Crossing over the Hudson, it was a dark, misty night in New York City. It took a lot of concentration after 2 days on the road. Once I hit Rhode Island, fatigue really started to set in, and the last hour drive to Boston was one of the longest of my life. I didn't do much driving while I was home, but Coastal Route 1A in southern Maine is by far my favorite. It offers a moderate series of sweeping corners and frequent coastal views. Maybe I'm biased because it's where I'm from, but with all the places I've traveled, I still find Maine to be one of the most beautiful. After traveling halfway across the country in 2 days, jumping in the 64-degree water feels quite refreshing. Fun fact, if you see an old gravestone with a large piece of granite across it in New England, it's likely because the person buried there was believed to be a witch. way to Cape Cod from Maine, I stopped at my first ever drive-through brewery. If you've never visited Cape Cod, there are only 2 bridges connecting mainland Massachusetts to Cape Cod. And in the summertime, traffic often backs up for 15 miles or more getting on and off Cape Cod. Cape Cod is extremely cycle-friendly, offering seemingly endless miles of paved, isolated cycle paths. If you're worried about sharks while visiting Cape Cod, there's an app that tracks shark activity. I guess Spielberg's setting for the movie Jaws was an accurate one. I also highly recommend trying the Cisco Brewers Shark Tracker Logger. Gave me a chance to reflect on how the Mark IV was for a road trip companion. To be honest, it was great. It did everything I asked of it, it never hiccuped. I was a bit apprehensive about taking a nearly 20-year-old car on a 4,000-mile road trip, but afterwards, I would take it again in a heartbeat. It was surprisingly comfortable for the long miles, and had it not been for a bad rear window regulator that let some noise in, it would be rather quiet too. It was fun enough for the tail of dragon and yielded me just over 40 miles per gallon average over the whole trip. I must admit, 40 miles per gallon is a lot more than I thought I would get with the large roof backs on the car. I tried to keep my speed around 75 miles per hour on the highway and noticed the fuel economy did drop off sharply when going above that. Making the trip both ways in 2 days was definitely the limit of my endurance driving. I love driving and don't mind long hours behind the wheel, but after 12 hours, the enjoyment factor starts to go down. I spent $278 on fuel, and the car will need another $30 oil change shortly after getting home, which makes it pretty close to the cost of when I normally fly home, the only advantage being not having to rent and borrow a car once you're there. Overall, my thoughts on the Mark IV TDI remain steadfast. I could have taken my Mark 7 All-Track with lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control, but there's something about my Mark IV I like more. I think it's the fact the Mark IV is more primitive and engaging. The car allows you to build a bond with it. As much as I'd like to buy and sell cars, this one is one that I may be sticking with for a while and look forward to more road trips with it. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this video. And if you really liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe and stay tuned for more content. Thank you.